Hey everyone, nftbroo, Josh here. We're doing another community interview today, and today we have Tybow. Welcome, Tybow.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good. Happy to be here. Happy to
Yeah,
have a
yeah,
chat
thanks for
about
joining.
community.
Just as a reminder for anyone who's joining in for the first time, just decided that it would be cool to start interviewing people from the Flufffield ecosystem and wider, just to get to know some more faces and some people and their journeys and how they've ended up in this space. So, Tybow, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do?
At the moment, I work as a part-time dad, and I'm in the middle of creating a business around education on onboarding people to crypto. So think of like one-on-one hand-holding from everything to using an exchange to understanding hardware wallet security and using crypto tax software, like anything related to crypto, except for financial advice. I just educating on them how to get involved, but not what to buy or whatever. So I'm just a more of consulting and educating type role, and I have been doing it a little bit for the last few years, but I'm trying to take it more serious as as a side gig while I'm a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah, that's pretty epic. There definitely needs to be more of that in this space. Is it so like mainly through video chat or text, or how do you do it?
Um, Mostly in person, but I have had a few people online, and also I've set up a situation with one of my clients so I can just remote use their computer, so I can just help them along if they're because a lot of the clients I focus on are sort of the older generation that aren't that tech savvy but understand the potential of the technology and just need some help with like just general things like even just basic computer usage for some of them. It's just a bit of a barrier for them, and I can just provide that service. And it's fun. I love doing it. I love being involved in like sort of IT type computer stuff. So it comes naturally to me, and I like sharing and helping them along their journey as well.
Yeah, that's really cool, and I'm sure they're super appreciative of it. How are they? How are people generally finding out about it, about crypto and NFTs? Is it mainly just like media, and then they want to get on board? Is there a common story or a theme?
I think it's word of mouth is the main what's the word, like, lead when you think about like the current narrative on mainstream media. It's quite fearful. I was just watching another. There was like the Sunday Project, and there was apparently I just saw that there was a crypto show on where a guy was on talking about crypto on the show, and basically like there was just a lot of like polarizing views and a lot of misinformation and not enough education around actually what it is and what it can provide. So they were trying to be balanced, but I still feel like it panders to a lot of fear and lack of understanding. So it's good that I see, like, there's a lot of potential for people to do what I'm doing because there's just so many people out there that aren't educated enough. And if they can find someone to handle them, because, you know, there's a generation that is older and they can't necessarily go on YouTube and figure it out for themselves. Like, there's definitely a market for that as well, creating a YouTube channel and helping people on board that way. But at the moment, I've just been focusing on building out content. I'm eventually wanting to create a digital course, just like a Web3 101 type stuff to understanding blockchain on a basic level. Because, like, I think we're having this conversation the other day about you don't really need to know like how every single internet protocol works to appreciate the internet and take away the benefits from it. You know, and it's the same with crypto. You just want to get that hump over in people's minds to know that it's actual real technology that provides real utility and use cases. So I'm trying to less focus on the nitty gritty, the tech stuff that people might find boring, but actual real use cases that actually could have a positive effect on their lives. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have like if someone said to you, explain crypto or NFTs, is there kind of like a 30-second blurb or something? What do you generally say to them?
Um, I guess I try and simplify it to at the moment with digital files, you can copy and paste infinitely. Like there's no such thing as like digital ownership. Like if you want to have a music file, you can just send it, duplicate it, copy it, upload it. We're now able to create digital scarcity, digital ownership. So you can actually own something that can be verified as you as the owner on the internet that has actually never been done before. And what that does is it opens up like Pandora's box, like, you know, from the simple thing to a membership. Like you think about like an online membership, if it's on like the blockchain, you could have a membership for a product or a service that you like, but once you're done with it, you usually just unsubscribe. But with an NFT, for example, you can like sell that. You know, there's value retention for the user. So there's a lot of benefits on like creating a blockchain slash a ledger that is decentralized and creates digital scarcity, because there's just so many use cases that you know it's hard to have a 30-second conversation on like the potential. But I just try and summarize it to digital ownership and the benefits of that. You know, one of the easy use cases that I like to talk about that are a little bit longer than 30 seconds, but like the Brave browser is a crypto-based Web3 browser that uses the same like backend as Chrome. So it's all interoperable with Chrome. So you can migrate all your web-based, like, you know, how you download MetaMask, you can just migrate it all to the Brave browser. But what it does is it blocks all ads. It creates you a wallet that you just need to connect with and KYC with, and then you can start earning BAT tokens. And what that basically means is your basic attention gets recorded, and then then gets sent to the advertisers. The advertisers buy the BAT tokens and then distribute to the people that see your ad. So I'll get a pop-up window that will share an ad like crypto tax or whatever, because that's what's happening. In Australia, crypto tax is July, so I've been seeing that a lot lately as an ad. And for me clicking that, I get a little bit of a BAT token at the end of the month as a reward. What's cool about that is I'm anonymously giving my data away. So they don't know who I am, but they're taking my information, my basic attention. So every time I browse a website, it's taking all of that attention and then using that data anonymously, and you're getting paid for it. So yeah, with the advertisers, they pay like the people they're advertising towards. And this has never been possible with things like Facebook and YouTube and all those, because they're a Web2 company. They want the piece of the pie. When you create like a Web3 application like this, the middleman like gets a small cut for updating the smart contract and all that, but most of the value is transferred peer to peer. So the whole transfer of value is now peer to peer, instead of middleman takes their cut and then, you know, another person takes a cut, and then by the time it gets to you, you're paying a premium because you're paying all these people in the middle, and the person who's selling it is only getting a small margin because they had to pay all the, you know, so the whole value transfer is just being streamlined. It's just like putting the internet on steroids, because the internet has allowed us to connect information quickly, but this is connecting value quickly and peer-to-peer, which is amazing because we can actually get more value on both sides of the equation. Because if you're creating value and you don't have to pay all these middlemen as much anymore, you don't have to offer, you don't have to pay, you don't have to like put the price so high, and in the return you get paid more because you know you're probably getting more customers, and just the whole value transfer just gets like way better when you have
Yeah, I guess in a way it's
central.
yeah, I was just going to say in a way it's almost like the Spotify versus an artist directly putting their music as NFTs, isn't it? You know, they cuts out the middleman to an extent and they get a lot more out of it.
Yeah, like for example, I would imagine like you might be able to be following Eminem, for example, and he releases his song early through a a platform that only reads NFTs, so you have to have the NFT to play the song. So you get to have early access to that song, and then you keep that song for like years. And then say someone really loves Eminem, he's passed away now, and you've got that NFT as a song from Eminem himself, and it's all verified on the blockchain that this is all real, it's all authentic. Then what is that worth to someone? That's all comes down to subjectivity of like the current NFT market. It's all about what people perceive as valuable. Like, is a Bored Ape worth 100 ETH? Well, that's what the market and the people believe it is. So NFTs are at their very like infancy, really, compared to what they could be like used for in everyday life. Like, everyone will have an NFT within like 10 years, in my opinion. Like, it'll become like just a normal thing, just like how money, and when we started having cards for everything, and now we use our phones to pay for everything. The next step is digital wallets and NFTs and crypto. It's just, when you see where the world is heading, it's becoming pretty obvious, especially when the metaverse starts to come into fruition. You'll just see the world adopting it more and more. And if you look at the adoption curve of the internet and Web3, like, we're increasing a lot. Like, apparently it took like 7 years to get it to 1 billion users of the internet, from like 2000, I think it was 2002 to 2006 or 90. I can't remember the exact, but it was 7 years from it to get to 1 billion users. But they reckon that from now till 2025, which will be 5 years, we'll probably get to 1 billion users. So 2 years quicker than the internet took to get to 1 billion users, which is pretty fair assumption, because when you think about the internet connecting everyone, like, it's just,
everyone's online.
Yeah. So the age of information, everything's becoming more exponential. Like, Raoul Paul talks about the exponential age. I think he has a really good like video series about it, and I think I recommend like listening to him. He's like a macro investor, trader, analyst from Real Vision. I just love to listen to people like him. It's great.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I follow him on Twitter. So let's take a little bit of a step back. So how did you end up in the crypto NFT space?
So crypto, I found out about like Bitcoin, and there was this big, like, initially it was just about the money. When you think about, like, if I'm being honest, it was Bitcoin's going up crazy, and then I started learning about it, and then I started realizing this is a pretty important technology. It makes a lot of sense to me. So I just got immersed in around, I think it was June, July of 2017. And I just went on this whole journey of like learning about altcoins, learning about Ethereum. And then, back then there was all this hype around these decentralized apps running on Ethereum, and it's going to change the world. And this was like the like early stage hype where like everyone was starting to learn about it. Like, it was still like a little bit niche, but in 2017 there was a huge chunk of people that started learning about it. YouTube like subscribers were going from like 30K to 200K in the matter of like 4 months. Like, it was like pretty crazy, and I was just immersed in learning about everything. And then, from me learning about it, buying and speculating, I didn't know anything about like actual macro environments, like how things trade, and just up only mindset. And then realizing that you got to take profits sometimes, and those are the best lessons, especially when I didn't really have a huge amount of money to play with. And that's what's really cool about crypto for me. It was like the potential to make money was there, but so you didn't need huge amounts of money, and it was just a bit of fun. And I'm a bit young, so like I'm not risking my house or anything like that. But the idea of just messing around with it and realizing that you can invest into things and let it grow. So the idea of investing in the whole crypto space and seeing where it's going to be in a few years, like, was always on the back of my mind. Because in 2018, when the crash happened, it was just a bit depressing. And like, friends that you told about it, like, you would hear one or two comments from like, how's your crypto going? And like, a lot of people that just didn't get it. I still believed in it. I just didn't like. There wasn't much to like. You can read about things, but nothing's moving. Everything's stagnant. Like the price is just either falling or just having a little run, but nothing like what it was in 2017. So it just wasn't exciting at all. And then 2020 comes around. I'm like keeping an eye on crypto. I'm like, this is going to run up again. And then March happened, and the whole thing collapsed, and I was freaking out, like, what the hell is going on? And it just literally reversed back up again after like that massive crash when the world was collapsing with the COVID, and I just got hyper focused from then, and I just haven't stopped. It's just I don't know. I just find it a little bit addictive, just being immersed in the crypto space. Um, and then you fast forward 2021, I was hearing about NFTs, and my friend was telling me he was like buying these CryptoPunk derivatives on the Binance chain, and he was buying them and selling them for more. And I'm like, you're trading these things? Like what? It was just like this whole concept of like NFTs, and I was like, I just don't know if I can put my money into something that's like an NFT. Like, why would someone pay more for this? And then that was on the back of my mind, and then it's this whole rush of like finding the next project, and then like fluffs came along, and that was just like the one of the first like NFTs that I actually took serious and tried to mint, but unfortunately I found out about it too late, and I was driving home and then it minted out just before I got home. So I literally bought it off the floor like zero point 0.3 and 0.4 and 0.5. And then it just exploded. I went to like 1.6 ETH, and I'm just like, whoa, what the hell's going on? Like, it was just insane. Like, just how crazy that whole like market cycle in August to all the way back, and then later on into December with the fluffs. But in between that, I dabbled in other projects, but always kept coming back to fluffs and like learning about it. And then and then I was reading this little tweet storm about ASM, and I was like, oh, what's a state machine? And I like watched the Delphi, I think it was Delphi Digital, with Aaron and Dave and McDonald talking about AI, and I was just like, holy shit, this is like I have to learn more about this. And then I just got so immersed into ASM, and that was what clicked for me when I had like Fluff World, and they're building this AI, and then like, well, this isn't just a NFT project. They're building something here, and they're like trying to create like a whole like vision. And then over time you start learning about like each piece to the puzzle, like Silo, and then you're hearing about Sens in the background, and then eventually the Futureverse comes out, and this whole conglomerate of like just this aha moment of me thinking, this whole time they created Fluff World to bootstrap the community, to then like everything's just fallen into place, to now we're getting mycelium and this whole ecosystem, and it's all coming together. And it's just like, in my mind, it's like, how out of all the things, like I did not expect this. It was just like this bombshell, and of like, the way that I use this as an example. Imagine if there was an ETH NFT, right? There was just like a character collection, and then they were dropping ETH to your wallet. Imagine getting that opportunity now. That's what I see Fluffs as. So the Fluff World and whatever assets that will get the mycelium drop, I see that as just as valuable as if you were getting airdropped ETH back in the day, back in 2014. But that didn't, obviously that's not what was, they needed to build Ethereum first for that even to happen. So it's like, that could never happen. But the fact that it's happening now, like I feel like we're at a really amazing opportunity as fluff holders to take it. I feel like we're being blessed with this like mycelium token, and the network and the root network and how it's all piecing together. Like, it's like, I just have this like unwavering faith and conviction that Aaron and David and Jeff, they're just making this gigabrain project, and like it's just gonna rise like out of nowhere, and it I could be wrong, like honestly, like, but for some reason my intuition or whatever it is you want to call it, like I just know that like I'm in the right place and the right track to be a part of an ecosystem to keep like a constant eye on. Like I've never been so drawn into a project slash ecosystem before. I guess like you could say that this is what it might feel like to a BTC maxi or an ETH maxi, but I don't think anything else is like bad. I just am so immersed and like care more about this project than anything else right now. Just because it's and the opportunity when you have something early that that could be massive is like once in a lifetime. That's life changing money potentially. But it's not just about the money. It's about being part of something that like is going to change the world for better. And I'm trying to get work involved with the ecosystem, and I just want to be part of it in any way that I can. It's not just a money mindset. Money is cool, like, but like, I'm having fun along the way, getting involved with the story, the lore, the characters. It's something that I feel like um I'll be able to think about in the future. Think back at like that was a crazy journey, like thinking like how traditionally, like with Amazon or all these tech stocks back in 2001, 2005, when you were like speculating on that, I just don't feel like they would have had the sense of community slash like depth to like being involved with like the creation of something. Because like, yeah, you buy Amazon stock and you just look at the price and you probably talk to your mate. That's it. But like, oh, what's getting Drake dropped now? Like, oh, that's a sick bunny. Like, what's your law? Like the you can get so caught up in this like world and story, and it's like this is a history defining moment, right? This has never been really like I can't think of another example where this has ever happened in the way that it's happening. I'm not sure if you like can think of anything, but just that whole mold of like an investment, but also a community, which is also like a whole world and an ecosystem. And it's like, it's just so fun to be a part of.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think I share a lot of those views too. I think as soon as I stumbled across Fluff again, it was after Mint for me too. I was just blown away and just really drawn in. I'm like, what is it about this project? And then, yeah, the more you learn and the more you go down the rabbit hole, you're just like, wow, what? This is incredible. The brains behind it, eh? It's awesome. What would be your advice to someone who was joining the space now?
Um, Educate yourself, ask questions, get involved with the community. Like the best thing about crypto is that like you can and you will, if you want to put the effort in, like we'll find a crew that you meld with and can talk with and share insights with. Because what I've found personally is that when you get into the world of Web3 and then no one else around you wants to talk about this stuff or cares, you can't. I mean, that's just one aspect to it. But then there's like the whole networking, like people like where I'm always sharing information with my friends that I've met through Black World and stuff. Like, we I just feel like we're naturally more helpful and involved with helping others succeed and come along on the journey. So don't be afraid to to ask and to get help and to connect, because there's so many lovely people, specifically in the fluff world community, but in crypto, that you can find your tribe. Like, no, you may not like, you know, not everyone's gonna like always relate, but there is like the crypto space is big enough to find your tribe basically. And if you can get involved in hanging out with those people and sharing information, it just becomes like a network, because we've only all got so much time. If someone sees something that you don't see and you can share the details, it just makes that journey funner and easier to keep up to date, because it's a fast moving space. So get your network sorted is what I would recommend, and then from there I think everything will fall into place, because when you have the community, it's like it's your network. You just help each other, and then you can just learn at a quicker pace as well, because you've got someone there to talk to. Whereas on YouTube, you're listening to a video, and it's hard to ask questions to a video. Whereas a person, they're just like a on-demand dictionary, or like Google. Like everyone's happy to help. That's my experience anyway. I'm
Yep.
sure
Yep.
it's probably yours as well.
Yep. No, I definitely agree. And then you've got sites like the prawns.xyz, and then I'll always try and make the AMAs so I can chuck some notes up for anyone who doesn't have time to watch the whole thing. So there's definitely
Yeah,
a
that's
lot of
another
people
thing.
keen to help.
Yeah, your notes are a godsend, because it's just so nice to like compile like a whole video into like a nice, neat format that just goes straight to the juicy bits. So I always love your little synapses of like covering it all. It's been great to, you know, I guess that's a testament to what the community is like. We all just share our little bit, and it's really cool.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it can be tricky if I'm doing it live. I'm trying to type and keep up and going, did they, what did they say? Sometimes I have time to listen to a recording, or sometimes I do just listen to the recordings and do it, but it
yeah.
seems to work out all right anyway. What would be your kind of biggest lesson on your journey so far?
Um, Not getting educated on the markets quick enough and taking it seriously. Um, Basically, what I realized now is that there's a method to investing and getting involved and putting your hard-earned money into things, and getting as much education around market cycles, macro environments, um, how your emotions play a role in your decision making. Like, if you get educated on all of that, and there's so many resources on YouTube, and connect with people and ask. But if you get more connected with understanding that, you'll have a better time dealing with the volatility and everything that comes with it. Or if you're not into the investing side, you know, just learning about it is also like important, because you might have a skill that you could offer, so you can get involved in Web3. Like, education is really important, and from the investment sides, understanding the market cycles, taking that very seriously, because you have your money, right? You want it to grow. You don't want to just haphazardly just throw that around. So just get educated and take it more seriously. That's what I wish I did. But it was a learning curve. I think you can't avoid losing some sort of money in some way. I feel like it's like, about baptism by fire. Like you get a little bit burnt, but just don't. If you are gonna dabble, just don't go too crazy, because you don't want to have a bad experience. And like, because if you have a bad experience, you're less likely to get involved, and then there's just opportunities that you'll miss. So yeah, take the education side seriously, and get involved in like understanding what you're getting into when it relates to like all of it, because there's opportunities that you can take advantage of when you're more educated. And it is a big space. There's a lot to learn. So, there's no actual rush. Like, we're still early. We don't have a billion users yet.
Yeah, no, that's some great advice. Yeah, definitely. So find yourself a community and ask questions, and yeah, get educated. That's awesome. What's something coming up in the NFT space that you're looking forward to?
Um, because I've been a little bit tunnel visioned, uh, mainly Fluff World and ASM have been like at the forefront of my mind. Mainly because it's just, until the launch of the mycelium token goes live, like all that happens, like there's just so much to look forward to. So, and we're in a bear market, so I'm being a bit more conservative on like, um, you know, what to get involved in. But besides the Fluff World ecosystem and the Futureverse, there's this project that I feel like has like a lot of potential in it, but is quite ambitious. It's called Gnaw. Um, it's a project by Brooks Brown, and he's got this um, podcast called The Magic Circle, and it really changed my perspective and educated me on like another way of using crypto and making games using crypto instead of what we're normally used to play to earn. It's more of a business model that's similar to what we're traditionally used to. So imagine creating a game that's like a sport and then creating a whole business around, just like how we do with soccer. He wants to utilize the crypto technology to create an esport, but the game is free. Just like how when you pick up a soccer ball, it's free. You can just, you know, obviously you pay for the ball, but like the game of soccer is free. Like you just kick the ball to each other and you try and score a goal. Um, but if you can turn that into a whole like sport, the game that they're creating, and then you create like whole leagues around it, like stadiums, all this stuff, and you use crypto technology, you can make the game free and still have the finance part on the outside. So what I'm basically trying to get at is the game is free, the magic circle is always intact, but when you add financial incentives within the game, it breaks the magic circle. The game's not just about playing the game anymore. What's now the focus is making money. Whereas if you have the magic circle separated to the finance only, so like people that run clubs in soccer, they're playing the financial game outside, merchandise, all that, but the actual game is not being, the soccer players are just getting paid to play soccer, right? That's what could eventually happen where we could like own these NFTs and then we have the rights to um, take on a player and pay them, and then they can be sponsored by my group, and I have the NFT rights to do that. So there's the whole giving access to the Nor platform with these NFTs, and it's still not fully like understood yet. There's a lot of like unrevealed information that's coming out with the white paper, hopefully next week, and then you'll be able to understand the platform. But he's trying to recreate sport, but using crypto technology, and it's really exciting and ambitious. If he gets the game mechanics right and he gets the Web3 right, I feel like it has a lot of legs, because he also said that it's also a platform for others to build on top as well. So it doesn't necessarily have to be him alone. And if he can create a snowball effect, he could have a thriving ecosystem around these principles where the play is separated from the finance. And then the term is called play-fi. So play and finance, they're separated, but they have a critical role to the success of the project. The game is fun, but the whales can still play the finances. So there's like Brooks calls it like two games. There's two games running in parallel, but they never intermingle. And it
Wow.
allows gamers to have fun and play games, but then also allows the whales to play the meta game, is what he calls it, of like, trying to capitalize and make his money grow. So it's a very complex topic. I am not like professional in understanding it, so don't quote on like, it's best to fully immerse yourself in that project and learn about it, because he's got a lot of like long form conversations, and he delves into these topics and becomes way more nuanced than I. He's the master of that craft. I'm just relaying what I know.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, I think I'm in that Discord, but it's just one of those projects that I just have not had time to fully look into. So it's cool to hear a bit about that. Definitely learned a bit there. And I think that is, the whole free to play is definitely a way to onboard the masses. I think that's something that's missing at the moment. All these NFTs. If you want to get into any of the games that people are making, sometimes you have to drop a few ETH, and most gamers are going to go on Steam or Origin and download a game for free, or maybe $100. It's a bit of a jump at the moment.
Yeah, the whole model is essentially broken in the sense that like I feel like we're still figuring it out, and a lot of games are like just taking on greedy models of like traditional mobile games and just slapping on crypto on top, siphoning, like this whole concept, oh, you can play and earn, and like, it just attracts all these people because people think, oh, it's a game, everyone's going to play it, so that the price just goes crazy. But then you realize they're just printing an infinite amount of tokens and they have no way of like managing that economy. And then there's no more players coming on board. And then the whole thing collapses and the game, is it fun? Or are you playing it just to get the token that's now been inflated so much that it's not worth anything anymore? So do you want to play the game anymore? So that's where this is what I was talking about, the magic circle. It's like if we can separate the finance and the play completely, then you can create some magic.
Yeah, that's very cool. So we've kind of touched on this all the way through, really, but NFTs, the metaverse, 5 years time, where do you see it? What are we going to be doing?
So the way I see the metaverse is just like websites, but more. So currently we go to a website and it's like a flat monitor screen, but eventually like you could see a website as like an actual room potentially where you go in, you see the product, and it like will have these icons show up. It will be just like much more immersive, and it will allow also like on top of that, so the more immersive 3D VR AR experience that's gonna, as the technology catches up, we're going to be experiencing the hardware benefits of that, where more adoption of the hardware will allow the use case of these 3D environments that will benefit. Like it's like when the internet went to high-speed broadband, we could do so much more with the internet. Like it's just when these VR and the AR gets so much better and cheaper and streamlined, we can do so much more with that technology. So by that point, like when you have your 3D fluff avatar, you'll be able to like in certain instances be that character and like be that in Fluff World. You'll be playing Fluff World in 5 years time. I think like I would be pretty pressed to believe it wouldn't take like there's going to be certain aspects of the game over the years, but by 5 years I think there's going to be a big world that you'll be able to explore as your character. And part of that is ownership. So most people will own something in the form of an NFT within 5 years. They reckon we're going to have 1 billion users. So like there's just going to be like another layer of the internet, and we're still going to have the normal internet, but then we're going to have this extra layer because like I think there needs to be a balance. Like we don't want to get too like reliant on the metaverse, but just having that optionality. Sometimes you want to go to a theme park, but that doesn't mean you always want to go to a theme park. It's just having that optionality, having more creative ways to express ourselves and to experience things is only a benefit, right? And I think through the metaverse, through the digital ownership, you'll be able to start creating businesses through these metaverses as well as like a side gig. Like artists will be able to connect better with their fans from music to art to gaming. Like the whole, like there'll be groups created, like they'll be more connected because of the value transfer. Like I think that's like the hurdle that we have to get over with NFTs is the value transfer. When it becomes more peer to peer, like it's almost like a no-brainer. It's just like that hurdle of like understanding what the NFT actually offers and what crypto offers us as a use case. Once that's fully fledged, it's just gonna like it just will become like exponential, or it just becomes so normal that these Web2 companies will have to like really pivot, and a lot of things will just like crumble because they're not adapting to the times. Because as things become exponential, um, And that's why I recommend educating yourself and getting involved in crypto. In 5 years' time, like if you think Ethereum, for example, or mycelium is a bit more speculative, but let's say Ethereum is established. If you think that more and more people are just going to connect to the digital ownership and the metaverse and all that, what is the value of that? When you think about, okay, more users means more value, which means more demand. Um, if it is inevitable that Ethereum becomes the supercomputer for smart contracts, like um, over the next 10, 20, 30 years, if you get involved now, I'm not saying buy Ethereum, but I'm just saying, like, if you get involved and you do your research and you decide you want to invest, you're in such a good position to ride the wave of this technology if you get involved now. So, you know, 5 years time, we're going to be so much more involved and adopted, seeing that ahead of time and just placing your bets. Don't go all in on one thing. Like, diversify. Obviously, like, do your research. Um, only invest what you can afford to lose. Like, just all that general like stuff that's not stupid. Like, you just got to get educated, figure out what you want to invest into, see the vision in 5 years that this is inevitable. The adoption curve is not going to slow down. So enjoy the ride, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you've done what I usually do about this point, where I say that this isn't financial advice, and we are just sharing opinions, and that it's important to do your own research and educate yourself. So thanks for that. Do you have any other departing comments or thoughts that you want to share before you carry on? Is there a way that people can reach out to you if they want to have a chat or get some coaching?
I have an email, tydoescrypto@gmail, but you can always find me in the Fluff Discord, Tybow, or on Twitter as Tybow. Send me a message. I'm always happy to reply. Um, yeah, I'm, when it comes to this Web3 market and participants in this realm, I like to just be helpful. If you're already in the space, I like to just share information for free and like just connect. But if you know someone that's wanting to get involved, I'll take a different route and figure out what type of consulting I could do with them. But I'm in the middle of building my website, so I don't have a reference for that. But tydoescrypto@gmail is just the best form of business related coaching and stuff like that. But other than that, just send me a message. I'm happy to help anyone that's already in the space of Web3 and wants to connect in some way, shape, or form. I'm always keen to have a chat. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. It's been an awesome chat. I've learned a few things, and I'm sure others will as well. So thank you very much for your time today.
Yeah, no worries, man. Take care.
Yeah, thanks. You too. Cheers.